Back on the SportsMax Zone, we're continuing with cricket on the programme. West Indies women registered a consolation win over New Zealand in the third and final ODI at North Sound in Antigua and Barbuda on Sunday. The Windies women dismissed the Lady Kiwis for 168 in 48.1 overs. Lauren Down stroked 53 while Amelia Carr added 30. Karishma Ramharak, Afi Fletcher and skipper Hayley Matthews took 2 wickets each, all spinners there. Stephanie Taylor led the Windies' pursuit of 169 with 51, her first half-century in ODIs since March, and they returned to the top of the order, smashing 40. Hayley Matthews there smashing 40, opening the batting. Jess Carr was the pick of the Kiwi bowlers with 3 for 29. In the end, the Caribbean ladies reached 169 for 6 to win by 4 wickets with 38 balls to spare. And joining us to review what has happened in this series, the multifaceted Vernon Springer, commentator, administrator, coach and CEO of Vast Sports Media. Vernon, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Great to have you on.
Great to be here also to just share my own insights on what has happened between West Indies women and the New Zealand women's series.
Yeah, well, let's start with the fact that they avoided the sweep and with a pretty strong performance defeated the touring New Zealanders, who are higher rated than they are in ODIs in the ICC team rankings. How satisfying was it that they came up with a victory in the last match?
Well, it's worrying signs for West Indies women's cricket. As you rightly said, Taylor scoring her first half-century since March, and then in the interim of that, getting injured. And that, I'm sure, would have been a worrying sign for coach Courtney Walsh. There were only 3 half-centuries in the 3-match series: Susie Bates, Laura Down, and Taylor. And so that is also worrying for both coaches because the batting is a major concern. Amelia Kerr looks very, very, very good, Lance, from New Zealand. Very, very, very organised. There was a new ploy employed by Courtney Walsh by now moving up the captain, Hayley Matthews, to open. My big question that I keep asking myself is, if Shedi Nation is in the team, why is she not playing? And that's a major concern for me. I don't know if she's being saved for the T20s, but when you look at the mix of the West Indies women team, I don't see Gajnabi as a number 3 batter for the West Indies women team. In fact, I would have tried either Shedi Nation or Kashana Knight at number 3.
Okay, well, the T20s will start later this week. 5 matches in the T20s, unlike the 3 that they had in the ODIs. You just referenced Hayley Matthews opening the batting. Her most glorious career moment would have come in the 2016 World Cup as an opening bat, star of the match then. What do you make of her shifting her batting positions, and where do you think ideally she should be?
Well, you know, it's a pressure situation, Lance. With the West Indies women team that week, there's no Dottin in this team. There's no Kaise Knight in this team. So it now means that there's more added pressure on someone like a Hayley Matthews. And you ask a big question. Should Hayley Matthews go at the top of the order? Maybe that might be her best bet based on the composition of this team, because the West Indies team at present right now is short of batting. The other big question you'll ask yourself, okay, if we try Rashada Williams at the top of the order, should we be investing in a Natasha McLean at this time, or should we be looking for an under-19 batter to go at the top of the order? So there's worrying signs for the West Indies women's team, head coach Courtney Walsh, Robert Summers and company. But if you ask me for the T20 games, I think that the captain Hayley Matthews should open in those games against New Zealand.
Yeah, you just referenced based on the composition of the team as part of what would influence your decision to where Hayley Matthews bats. But she does also have a World Cup 100 against New Zealand opening the batting. So isn't it also a huge consideration that this is where she is most prolific? You know, regardless of the composition of the team, if Hayley Matthews' track record suggests that she is most potent and produces best in the opening position, why would she not play there all the time?
Well, it depends on, as you rightly said, the makeup. So looking ahead, it looks as if they're going to take that gamble for the 5-match T20 series before they get to the World Cup and decide and see what mechanism can work out for them. The other issue that they're also having is that if Haley Matthews goes very early and maybe a Taylor goes early, then West Indies is opened up in terms of their batting. So a lot of headaches there for the coach lands.
Vernon, does Courtney Walsh have, you would say, a talented squad at his disposal with players showing the tendency, players showing that they can break through with a couple more matches under their belt, some more experience? Does he have that kind of squad under his thumb, or does he have an okay squad with 1 or 2 world beaters who are inconsistent, pulling the rest along? Vernon looks frozen. Yes. Vernon, are you hearing me?
I think he's hearing me.
Oh, yeah, I think you're hearing me. Go ahead.
Yeah, but let me say to you, if we look at the talent pool for West Indies women cricket right now, we're in dire problems. We also have to take into consideration that some of the key players are also injured. And I want to raise this on SportsMax to begin to examine and ask ourselves, why are we having so many injuries both to our men and our women? That is, I think, a serious question that we really need to start to seriously address. But in terms of the talent pool, we maybe have talented bowlers, but I don't see a lot of women batters coming through. And that is my major concern. If we looked at the recently concluded CPL, if we had a talent pool, then we might not have had a Natasha McLean coming back into the team. If we had a talent pool, we might not have had a Gajnabi batting at number 3 for the West Indies in the 50 over. So there's worrying signs, and if we're serious about women's cricket in the Caribbean, guys, we are depending on the territories. We can't depend on the territories. What needs to happen, guys, Lance and George, is that West Indies need to pick 60 women and have those 60 women organized for camp. If we are waiting for the territories to develop women cricketers for the next level, we're going to be in problem.
But Springs, one thing, we're almost out of time, but I have to ask this. You say that you see promise in the bowling, and you reference the CPL. So let me interrogate that quickly. Do we really have quality in the bowling, as evidenced by our bowlers being very successful or being successful against the best international teams? Or are you making your verdict purely on the strength of what our bowlers are doing against their counterparts in regional cricket, who you accept that, or the batting in the region to start with, is subpar? So if those bowlers do well against subpar batting in the region, I don't know if we can take that as a good marker of the quality of the bowling. So which is it? What gives you the confidence to say that the bowling is decent to good?
Let's look at the Afi Fletcher, George, who has been able to hold her own. You have had somebody, Anisa Mohammed is not playing in the series, but Afi Fletcher, every time she plays, she always picks up wickets. You have someone like a Chanel Henry, who I thought looked very improved player in this series and held her own and bowled with some good pace. I was a little disappointed with Shamela Connell in the 50 over, but in the T20 version, she bowled with some good pace also. Selman, who's been around for like 98 games now for the West Indies playing at the 50 over level, she's changed her control and she's bowling maybe more line and length, really, and she's picking up the odd wicket or two. In the reserve tank, we would have seen Aliyah Allen yesterday. I think once she's given more games behind her, she looks like she can be dangerous to be able to get the ball to swing. You still have an 18-year-old Sherian Fraser, who no one has really seen yet. So I think with more games behind the young West Indian women batters, players, that can be able to hold their own. But I think my major concern would be the batting. Who do we get to bat? And based on who we have, somebody has to put their hand up. So I would like to see when a Shady Nation comes in for the 50 over, that she really cements herself and consistently scores some runs. I also want to see somebody like Rashada Williams develop very, very, very quickly. I still feel that she's limited in certain areas. And I think if she wants to be a world-class player, she has to work more technically on her game. And I think that's something that is missing from her.
Hear you on that, my friend. We're out of time. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure talking to you. Wish you all the best, and we'll check in again.
God bless you guys.
All right, break time here on the SportsMax Zone. Back with more after these.